Before we get into techniques, I want to take a moment to make the case for why this skill matters. Not just an interesting capability, but as something that directly affects your quality outcomes. Look at the 5 impacts listed on this slide. Better test cases, reduced hallucination, faster automation, improved defect detection, and enterprise consistency. These are not theoretical benefits. These are things your team can actually measure. Let me take each one briefly. Better test cases. When you use well-structured prompts, the AI generates more complete test cases. You get positive flows, negative scenarios, boundary conditions, and edge cases, all from a single well-scoped prompt. Without good prompting, you might get 3 generic happy path cases that do not tell you much. Reduced hallucination. This is a big one. A hallucination in AI is when the model produces something that sounds confident and plausible, but is actually incorrect. Precise prompts dramatically reduce this risk by narrowing the model's focus and forcing it to stay closer to the actual system or requirement you described. Faster automation. When you generate test cases, Gherkin, pseudocode, and synthetic data through prompts, you accelerate the early stages of automation significantly. That means more time for harder work of validation and review. Improved defect detection. Structured prompts that explicitly ask for negative and boundary cases push the AI towards the kind of scenarios where bugs actually live. Most systems fail at the edge, not in the happy path. And enterprise consistency. When your team adopts standard prompt patterns, every tester generates outputs in the same structure. That makes review, reuse, and automation more practical at scale. So the takeaway at the bottom of this slide says it well. Strong prompts lead to higher coverage, accuracy, and reliability. That is the standard we are going to work towards together. Let us begin by defining what prompt engineering actually is. So what exactly is prompt engineering? So let me explain it using the simple diagram on this slide. So we have prompt, we have model, and then there is output. The model is the AI. It could be GPT-4, Claude, Gemini, or any other large language model. The output is whatever the model produces. Test cases, summary, analysis, code. And the prompt is your input, the instruction you give to the model. Here is a critical insight. The model only works with what you give it. It does not have access to your intentions, your requirements, your system architecture, or your business rules, unless you put that information into the prompt. If your input is vague, the output will be vague. If your input is precise and structured, the output will be precise and structured. Prompt engineering is the practice of deliberately crafting those inputs so that the output meets your needs. It is not random. It is not guess and check. It is a skill with patterns, principles, and repeatable techniques. So here is why this connects so naturally to testing. Think about what a good QA professional already does when they write a test case. They identify the precondition, they write the test, step procedure, they specify the input data, they define the expected result, they think about validations, and they make sure that the case is specific enough to be repeated. That is exactly what a good prompt does. You are telling the model the precondition, that is the context. You are describing the steps you want it to take. You are giving it the data. You are specifying the expected output. You are adding validations. So the tester's takeaway on this slide clearly says, be explicit about steps, data, validations, and expected results. If you bring that mindset to your prompts, you are already halfway to mastering this skill. So now let us look at why this matters specifically for your role as a tester.